Think! Think! Think, grapefruits! Think! Liar! You liar!
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Here we are on this beautiful Tuesday. Tuesday late afternoon, a lazy summer day with a lazy government in place. I tell you what, the government does less and less these days, but they charge more and more, and they certainly spend more and more, do they not? Well, I'll tell you what, the left and their fruitcake supporters, they're all over the place. And of special note has been the number of crazed, lunatic, wannabe, perverted, and sometimes successful mass murderers. Well, once again, right, we're pointing out that Joe Biden seems to inspire them, that Nancy, Hillary, Hunter, Bill, Obama, and all the leftist turds seem to inspire violent gunmen. Well, at none other than Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, guess what? Some kind of armed lunatic is seen throwing shit out a window and is in a standoff with the SWAT team. Dollars to donuts, folks. Who wants to bet? Who wants to step up and take a bet? Guess the political affiliation of this numbnuts. Literally, take a guess. Take a wild guess. I'm willing to bet the political affiliation of this dipshit is Democrat. No doubts, no doubts in my mind. Folks, I hope you are prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. And of course, that means a self-defense. Not to go to Vegas, to go to world-class casinos and then, well, destroy everyone else's good time. But isn't that what the purpose of, well, crazed, lunatic, fruitcake gunmen and gun trans people is? That's right. They want to make a name for themselves. They want everyone to know who they are, right? They want to feel good about themselves and have everybody recognize them as the lunatics they are. That's funny. That's the same program the politicians are on. Same exact program the politicians are on. Welcome to Studio A at the Prepared Mind channel. It is the monologue followed by the inner circle, and that is you guys. If you are a subscribing, paying member on, you guessed it, thepreparedmind.club. If you're a member there, or if you're a member on Subscribe Star, guess what? You get to be here Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday. I really appreciate you guys being here as well and getting your questions up. Get them into Uman, get them into Jolene, and let's have some fun. Now, once again, as announced on the Aquatic Adventures with John channel, this weekend I have been sequestered. I have been requested. I have been advised. You will get your ass down to Central Florida or South Florida, wherever the heck Hurricane Ian hit down there. Some kind of, what is that place called? What's it called, man? Everyone knows because, well, I tell you, but not only was it wiped off the map, but everything was wiped off the map. Map. Anyways, I'll be down there in the hurricane zone where Hurricane Ian smashed everything. And I'm going to get some film footage. Going to hang out. All right, Uman passes the test. Fort Myers Beach really is what got wiped off the map, folks. It's interesting. Now I know houses flood, roofs get ripped off, damage is caused, but it really is the beach, along the beach, those properties are the things that get hammered the worst. Fort Myers Beach and other beaches and islands were just completely obliterated. Completely. It was going to smack into the Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete area. And then it was going to smack north. It was like heading for Pensacola. And then it changed back south again, went all the way down, and ended up slamming into Fort Myers Beach and area. Cut across the entire state at about a 75-degree angle north went up over the top of Orlando and out the other side. Hurricanes are nasty, folks. But at least they're a natural phenomena. Well, I hope they are. Unlike the unnatural phenomena that is the Democrat Party and Democrat ding-dongs everywhere. Everywhere. Now, you think I'm full of shit. The people out there that are trying to ruin our country, destroy it. Actually, they're trying to destroy the whole world, but especially trying to destroy the US, Canada, Australia, and all of Europe. Let me give you just a taste of the flavor of idiocy. Now, in Spain, their environmental minister wanted to meet up with his European Union colleagues, his good buddy or good buddies, because they wanted to talk about the environment. So what did this jackass do? Well, he rode a bike to the meeting. Well, wait a minute, that's a good thing, right? Riding a bike. Well, it would have been a good thing, except he was, escorted by huge, gas-guzzling, carbon-emitting, filthy, rubber tires, squealing, armored cars to protect him. Yeah, he really saved the world. In fact, I think that this little act probably, folks, cost more and caused more environmental damage. Why? Because as this jackass rode through town, other cars had to stop and wait. And it wasn't just that he was in a political procession of SUVs or large vehicles. He was going very slowly on his bicycle as the political procession came through town. And stoplights people had to wait at even longer. And the cars had to sit and idle even longer, burning extra fuel even more, costing taxpayers even more, as jackass in chief went to his environmental meeting. That's who we have for leaders, folks. You have people like John F. Kerry, former senator, former political candidate, right? Secretary of State, and idiot Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, Petey Butt Pirate, that guy, right? The Secretary of Transportation taking private jets. So it takes an entire jet to lift one little light in the loafer's fruitcake and transport them. Yeah, that's good thinking. Excellent use. Anyways, that's the people that are in charge. And so we wonder why people like the dumbass in Las Vegas lose their minds and decide to get in standoffs with SWAT teams and throw shit out the window and ruin everyone else's day. They want to ruin art galleries and ruin businesses. They want to glue themselves to streets. They want to stop parades, including their own gay pride parades. They want to stop those too. These people are ding-dongs, folks. It really would be a much better place if the world did not have to deal with them. All right, we're going to get into some more stuff here. Get your questions, put them in the comments section down below. If you come in later and get to watch this on YouTube, be sure and share that internet address at the top. Be sure and hit subscribe. Be sure and hit the notification bell. Be sure and hit the thumbs up, because we need more people paying attention, waking up, and seeing what's going on, right? All day long, folks, I am inundated with news, information, emails from you guys, from the East Coast to the West Coast, the North to the South, and even around the world. We get emails everywhere. And yes, I want to thank everyone who has shown up over at Aquatic Adventures with John, our other channel where we're going to, catalog, document, exercise, preparation out in the world. Anyways, I've got a lot of warm greetings over there. Thank you much. There'll be more coming. Just take some time. This trip down to Fort Myers, Florida is going to be quite interesting. I'm going to take a look at it from the perspective of how would you survive this, during, after, etc., and see what's going on there, what skills you need, what kind of physical conditioning would be necessary to deal with this stuff. Anyways, we'll have some fun there. Anyways, we're going to meet up with some people also, some other YouTubers that you just might know. It's going to be fun. All right. Let us continue. I don't want to give Biden a pass when I start talking about stupid people around the world. This moron was on CNN. That's right, President Moron himself. He is putting you at risk. He could cause shit to hit the fan right now. He's encouraging our enemies around the world. He's encouraging our enemies around the world by revealing national military secrets. Now, I have to admit, and I understand that he could be revealing this information as misinformation to confuse our enemies. But wouldn't there be better people to confuse the enemies than the confused in chief Biden? Still, what this guy talked about was, well, Ukraine is short on artillery munitions. And so is the U.S. military because they've given away so much. Now, I'd like to think that this is a misinformation, Sun Tzu art of war move by his masterful chess-playing brilliance himself, right? Pure genius, a.k.a. Einstein Biden. But no, I don't think so. I think it truly was a gaffe and a slip. And I'm surprised that they even shared that information with him to help him understand what's going on. The man has no clue, folks. He has no clue. Now, speaking of ding-dongs, fruitcakes, and idiots, remember, what's her name? Rapinoe, the U.S. women's soccer fanatic, right? She is now saying that she welcomes men on the women's soccer team. Is this a faux pas? This is how stupid. I'm telling you, folks, these people are stupid. They're not men. They're trans. They're actually women with penises, don't you know? And she's saying that she welcomes men on the women's soccer team. They need to get their verbiage straight. They better get their pronouns straight over there on the left, huh? Don't worry, folks. They are that stupid. And don't worry, they forgive each other as leftists for their mistakes most of the time until they get really aggravated. All right. All right. So, yeah, typically I do not tell people where I'm going to be in the future. Typically, I don't do that because I don't want anyone trying to give me a hard time. Show up, give me some shit. But this weekend, I'm feeling a little bit, or at least right now, I'm feeling a little bit saucy. Little bit saucy. So we're going to see what happens. Is this a nation of laws, America? Well, it really was, folks, at one point. It really was a nation of laws and good men and good women. I mean, there were political differences going back to the beginning, but they were all pretty much good people who liked freedom and liberty. But not anymore. Not anymore. In California, folks, in the Assembly, which is their Congress, in the California Assembly, there was legislation that was presented. And they said, hey, look, people who are guilty, found guilty of child trafficking, they should be put in prison for life. That is the punishment. That's what we were told, right? Or at least that's what the California, or members of the California Assembly said, we need to take a look at this. Well, guess what? All the Democrats blocked it. That's right, folks. They don't want anyone to be punished for life for selling children. That's what child trafficking and child sex trafficking is. It's selling children into slavery and sex slavery. And in California, the politicians don't like that. What does that tell you about where they're at in their heads, folks? What does that tell you about who is in charge in areas of this country? What does that tell you, literally, about who they are as people?
It be
That's right, folks. Their good buddy Satan has influenced them, haven't they not? Huh? I love that Dana Carvey, church lady, back from the early '90s, back when that was funny, pointing out who the bad guys were. Now you're not allowed to say shit like that. Well, I am. You are, because you aren't afraid to speak, and I really want you guys to, folks, speak up about what's going on. Now, I don't want you to speak up about, well, no, maybe we should. We don't want Joe to speak up, but we need to speak up about, Joe has been speaking up too much, not just about military weakness in America, but just altogether. He's been screaming and yelling and losing his shit privately behind closed doors in the White House and elsewhere. The guy's lost it, folks. And as discussed this morning, who wants to take his place? After all the shame he's brought on the country and destruction he's brought to our economy and our lives, our freedoms and liberties, all the pain and suffering that children have had to suffer under his regime. Right? So now he's got another nickname, folks. In fact, I want to ask you, put in the comments section, what is your favorite Joe Biden nickname? Put Biden nickname and then in all caps your favorite. I mean, we've had, let's see, Let's Go Brandon. That was a good one. That lasted quite a while. Potato Head, right? We've had quite a few Biden names, right? So we got a couple of new ones here because he's been screaming and yelling at people. He's been being nicknamed Old Yeller now in the White House. But to top that one off, someone else came up with Old Smeller, which is pretty much accurate. Put in the comments what your favorite nickname is for Joe Biden. I really think it'll be appreciated. You know, there's so many names for that POS, right? Right. This comes, folks. These nicknames are appropriate, I think, for this guy. I think they're funny as hell, personally. But this is what we got. Now, we're continuing to see and hear about Democrats leaving the Democrat Party. I want to caution you against thinking it's a good idea. Right now, down in Georgia, we've had another Democrat leave the Democrat Party. That means that she's gone and she's joined the Republican Party, has she not? Now, let's see. State Representative Maisha Malnor, right? Yeah, the way her district is, described is navy blue, meaning it is dark blue, meaning it is heavy, heavy, heavy Democrat. And now she went from being a Democrat there to being a Republican in a Democrat congressional area. I'm going to tell you, though, even, you know, when you switch parties, does that mean you just naturally start voting for everything like pro-gun and pro-life and pro-border security and pro-real military and anti-grooming and anti-fruitcake? No, that's, I mean, look at the Republicans we have out here, like Turtles Mitch McConnell, leader of the Republicans in the Senate, and of course the Speaker of the House, who is supposed to be a Republican, Kevin Sellout POS McCarthy, right? So don't think that because we're getting more Democrats switching over to being Republicans, it's not going to help our cause. It's going to actually water down the Republican, shall we say, list of virtues or strengths. Because, well, I mean, Maisha there, she's probably pro-life. She just doesn't like, some of the things that are happening. What's interesting is she says, quote, "The Democrat Party establishment is looking to take me out." Now, I don't know if she thinks with a gun or whether she just means politically. Well, tell you what, it takes a lot of guts to stand up for yourself, be independent of what other people want from you, to do what's right. And hopefully she becomes a real, live, living human being that wants to, well, be free and work for the freedom of others. In fact, wasn't that supposed to be a big deal to the blacks during the Civil War and before, and even after, to get free, to be free of, to live freely, to have all the rights that a human being could have, to truly be free? Why is it that all these Democrats in politics that are black want no freedom, no liberty, no rights? They want huge government power. Isn't that kind of antithetical? Isn't that against the grain? Yeah, I tell you what. Now, there we go. I just thought that you should hear about that story. Get your comments down below. Get your questions down below. Get your thoughts, your predictions, your look at the past. Where are we heading? What's on your mind as we head deeper into this week? Well, I got more for you. I got something that's very important. There's someone that I want you to support. Someone I want you to email and text and phone call and send messages and carrier pigeons and smoke signals any way you can. I want you to support Senator Grassley. He is an old white man. You might even say he looks like the patriarchy. I want you to support this old fuddy-dud because he's doing some good. He is continuing to push and demand, right? And he's going after the FBI. Now, I know he's old, I know he's white, and I know he's a man, but at least he's acting like a man at his age. He's not giving up on life, he's fighting. He's asking the FBI, where are these tapes? He's referring to the 17 smoking gun tapes that are incriminating Joe Biden in a bribery scheme. Where's the tapes? How is a congressional or Senate oversight committee supposed to discover any information if it's being withheld by the bureaucracy? See, this is why they need to just dissolve the FBI like that with a vote. Dissolve them, destroy them, unfund them. That's how you get rid of them, by the way, folks. You take away their money. That's how you get rid of all politicians and take their power, is take away their money, their ability to fund their programs, their pet projects, their agendas. Take away the funding, nothing can happen. Well, let's see. Congressional leader, Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, well, he gave Joe Biden unlimited spending authority until, was it 2024 or 2025? With his wide open checkbook. Well, Kevin McCarthy got what he wanted, so it was a good deal for the Republicans. What Republicans? I don't feel like it's been a good deal for me. Joe has already spent, folks. The federal government has already spent since signing that thing, taking the lid off the container, right? The cap off of spending. By getting rid of the debt ceiling limit, they've already spent over an additional $1 trillion. It's been just a few weeks. And Joe Biden, apparently there are 17 tapes, 17 different examples, instances, pieces of evidence that incriminate this man, Joe Biden, in a bribery scheme. Yet he's allowed to spend trillions of dollars. I say support Grassley, folks. Send him a letter. Encourage the old fart. Tell him to keep fighting, keep screaming and yelling, keep putting up a fit. At least until they lock him up, because I'm sure that's what they'd like to do. I wonder if he feels more threatened than Congressional Representative Maisha. All she did was switch parties. Grassley is trying to pull the lid off of all of the Biden stink and let the world see it. We have one hell of a fight in front of us, folks. One hell of a fight. Are you prepared? You need to prep to action. People go, oh, what are you prepping for, man? Oh, really? You haven't looked outside? You haven't paid attention? Have you seen the cities? There are corporations walking away from hotels and commercial buildings, just giving them up, saying, look, we ain't making any money. We're not going to make any money. And places like San Francisco and Portland and Chicago and New York are screwing up everything with their lawlessness, that businesses can't make money. Thieves just come in and steal from them. No one wants to go to these places, so they're losing money. They're abandoning office buildings. Fuck it, they just give them up. Wow, what a great idea. The leaders of these cities can put all the homeless up in these posh, well-decorated, just well-built, high-rise. They can be bum condos. I tell you, that's what they like. Anyway, support Senator Grassley, please. I really think it's a worthy endeavor. People are going to wake up at some point. They're going to need to wake up at some point. Because these immoral bastards on the left, they're not going to go away, folks. They really aren't. Now, the Secret Service, folks, by the way, they're still baffled, and they still don't have a single suspect in the White House cocaine mystery. I tell you what, I have a way to solve this right now. Except, wait a minute, every time I have the solution, nobody in Washington takes it, because they're not really interested in solving problems. Still, let me help the media, because I know how to solve this. Let Joe Biden use his amazing dictator powers, those same powers that he used to try and force us to take the Jim Jones juice. Remember that? His patience is wearing thin. He is commanding that everyone do it. Right? He needs to force all White House staff and private citizens who were in the White House 7 days, up to 7 days prior to the cocaine discovery, including Hunter Biden, of course. They all need to take a drug test to see who is on cocaine. That will narrow it down quite a bit. Quite a bit. Now, the only thing that would save Hunter Biden in this fucking mess is if a dozen White House staffers all showed up dirty from coke, right? But even private citizens, that's right. If you can step on, well, the steps of Congress and go home having committed no crime, and the federal government come all the way over to get you, just like they did the January 6th protesters, and haul your ass to jail for years with no crime, no charges, and just keep you imprisoned, then I'm sure the White House can find it within their power to ask people to go take a drug test. You bet. I bet Hunter, folks, you know what I think? I think Hunter Biden, if he were to take a piss test or a blood test, I know he would come up clean as a whistle. Clean as a baby sheets, right? You bet. Because it wouldn't be his piss and it wouldn't be his blood that was used. Because he's clean now, really. He's clean, right? These people are nasty. Biden, Hunter, and Biden Joe, they won't even acknowledge their own family. This granddaughter, folks. This granddaughter of Hunter and Joe. It's Hunter's daughter and Joe's granddaughter. They won't even accept her. You know what? If I was her, I would quit asking for acceptance. This family is disgusting and filthy. I mean, literally, who would want to be involved or associated with these scumbags? Literally, folks. And by the way, the movie Sound of Freedom is really doing fantastically well. It had a $40 million opening weekend. $40 million, folks. The Sound of Freedom, a movie, folks, that Americans would like. It's a movie with redemption and justice and victory for people, instead of people driving fast cars and smoking weed and being cool, more worthless super woke superheroes. In fact, someone told me, someone made a comment, right? Because I'm doing the Aquatic Adventures channel. starting that up. I got to get some footage and start editing it and doing all that fun stuff. It's going to be a lot more work. But anyways, he asked me, what are you, Aquaman? And I thought about it. I thought, yeah, I'm Aquaman, not Jason Momoa. No. See, he looks like, like some other kind of Aquaman. The Aquaman I grew up with was a white dude with blonde hair. I think he had green pants and an orange shirt, and he could swim underwater. I can do that for about 5 seconds. Anyways, Americans like movies, folks, with justice, success, redemption, and morality. And it's showing. I'm glad that this movie's doing well, and I'm glad that Disney and Hollyweird get to see how fucked up their movies are and how nobody wants to watch them. They're just continuing to take a bath on all of their bullshit. And speaking of taking a bath on bullshit, folks, I've mentioned this guy, right? Jake Sullivan. Jake the Snake Sullivan. He went and spoke to the press in Washington, D.C. And he had an interesting comment. Jake the Snake did. And for some reason, it just disappeared right off of my phone, right off of my computer screen. How about that? He was asked, why is it that Hunter Biden is not getting prosecuted for a crime that others are? Don't you think that's a fair question that could be asked? Well, I think it's a great question that should be asked. Let me see if I can find it here for you. There are a lot of people here. Yep, Zuckerberg's app is being used for child trafficking. It's not a joke anymore, folks. It's not a lie. These things really happen. All these things really happen. You know what I did? I went right past it. Oh, they just removed it. No. Oh, no, wait, there it is. Reporter asks Jake the Snake why the whistleblower Gal Luft. That's the IRS whistleblower who's over there in Israel. Why they're going after him for violating FARA. FARA. You guys know what that is? I really don't. I just caught this in passing, and I didn't want to just quit the monologue section of the article here. But he was asked, why are you going after one person, but you're letting Hunter Biden get away with it? Well, Jake the Snake had shit for a response, folks. You know what his answer was? He said, I have not seen it, and I can't comment on it. These people are cowards, and they are intellectual vagrants as well. Just understand that, folks. When things get nasty and they get really bad, don't look to Washington for help. Don't expect these people to care. Don't expect FEMA or any other government organization to come running to our help. It's not going to happen. It truly isn't. All right. Let's do this. I want to do this. I want to get into what you guys want to talk about. I bet we've got a lot of interest out there. Let's do it. Okay, here we are. Jolene, who do we want to put up first on the Prepared Mind Inner Circle? It says, John, JoJo could go on TV and admit to everything tonight and nothing would happen or change. JoJo, another nickname for Joe Biden, right? Joe Bin Laden. You know, he's terrorizing the world of law and order. He has admitted all kinds of stuff, folks. Has he not? I mean, one of my favorite things was something that we weren't allowed to talk about. Voter fraud.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Voter fraud, voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud.
He admitted that. I mean, that is not a deep fake, folks. This guy has admitted to all kinds of crap, and he thinks it's absolutely funny. He thinks it's funny that we're all suffering and that he's a complete moron.
I think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything. No, it really...
Pretty darn funny, huh? Yeah, I'd say. 1 second. Okay. Wow. Thought I was going to sneeze there. Didn't happen. No cerveza sneeze. Anyways, yeah, he could admit to everything. In fact, video evidence from Hunter Biden is Hunter himself doing those illegal activities, and emails admitting to bribery and graft. The 17 supposed tapes or instances on tape that the FBI has, that's evidence of a crime. We don't have to have a big pile of money and an empty account over here and injured people for everyone to see that the crime has been admitted to. The evidence is there. You don't have to have every single element. You don't have to have Joe Biden's lifetime on tape in order to say, well, we needed to see more evidence before we could do something about it. No, we've got enough. We truly do. I just think that we need more people with balls. I think Senator Grassley's doing a good job. I'm not the world's biggest Senator Grassley fan. He's been around forever. He's a fossil. But for some reason, the old SOB is fighting. And I think he should. And I think we should all support him. And anyone who's willing to stand up and risk being Arkansided. That's right. All right, Jolene, who wants to step up next? We've got Charles Gentry. He has this to say: society that fails to protect their children, their future doesn't have long to live. Extinction is the result. For all Rome's power and influence, it is still no more than a was. Rome, folks, it burned. So did America in 2020, but that didn't take it down. It took Rome hundreds of years to fail. It took hundreds of years to ascend to its heights, its zenith, its high point, and it took hundreds of years for it to come back down the other side and fail. As it slowly cannibalized itself, destroyed its own currency, sound familiar? Was just enamored with its own corruption by politicians taking advantage of the use of the military or the police force to enrich certain members of the state at the expense of unwanted political members of the state. Sound familiar? The people were pitted against one another. That's right, the Christians versus the pagans. Christians were thrown to the lions, and then the pagans were attacked by Christians. I'm just using the term pagan to describe anyone who wasn't Christian. You can call them Romans, if you will, non-Christian Romans versus whatever. You know what I'm fucking saying. They fought each other, folks, in the streets. They killed each other. It took a long time for Rome to fall. It took a long time for Rome to fall, but it fell. It destroyed itself. And if it took hundreds of years, folks, think about it. That meant ships were sailing from Rome out to other parts of the Roman Empire to get food, wealth, slaves. That's right, folks, slaves. And bring them back to Rome so the Roman population could consume. And then those ships would sail back again to get more food, more slaves, more goods to keep bringing back to Rome to try and satisfy the evil bastards. Does that sound like Washington, D.C.? That every year it sends out its agents, that sends them out to us to take our wealth and take it back to Washington, D.C. to try and satisfy the consumption that goes on there. Look at the spending that Washington has done. Look at the promises it has made. We're $32 trillion in debt. And then there are, folks, unfunded liabilities, Social Security and other retirement and medical funds that are promised. They're promises to pay that the government made, but they didn't collect the money and hold it. No, they spent it. They spent it. Right? So they're doing the same thing today that they did in the Roman Empire hundreds, even thousands of years ago now, folks. 2,000 years, that's close. 2,000 years. Right? Rome consumed its own territories until it collapsed. It took a long time. It's taking a long time now. It's not going to happen overnight. But in the furthest reaches of the empire, understand this, that the people realized what was going on in Rome, that corruption was eating it, that it was evil, that it had no morals. There was nothing of value there. So the further reaches, well, you had Rome here, the further reaches were able to shake off Rome and say no more. And so as the empire fell, they were able to take from others less and less and less as people rebelled and fought back. That's going to happen, folks, to the European Union and Europe. It's going to happen to every country in the world right now. Australia, New Zealand, you bet. Canada, the United States of America, and other countries that fail because they morally fail. Right? I can't spend more money than I make. So why should the government be allowed to go into more and more debt? And then they demand more and more from us. With all of our technology, travel, home comforts, right? Health, we should live longer and have to work less because of the efficiency of the computer, of the modern age. Why is it that we have higher fucking taxes with all this technology? Why is it we're struggling for quality, decent food when we have all this technology and knowledge and information? Instead, they want to feed us bugs and sludge. They want to tell kids to destroy themselves. You want to talk about, an empire. And any empire, any country that doesn't protect its children truly is an evil place. It's truly an evil place. As Rome folks fell, it became more and more apparent that they were sexual deviants, that they were absolute filth from the top down. They were corrupt on every level. And it failed. But the people didn't die, folks. France, or the territory of land, the geographic locations known as France or Portugal or Morocco or Tunisia or Libya and Egypt, Israel, Turkey, Greece, all of these areas. Did I mention France, Northern Italy, Germany, England, that were all territories consumed and owned by Rome? They didn't fall into the sea and disappear. The people didn't all die. Guess who died? Guess who fell by the wayside? Guess who languished and perished as idiots? All of the corrupt, moronic, left-wing Romans. And they were. If you put them on a political scale today, they would be left-wing idiots. The people that worked hard, saved, made intelligent decisions, they're the ones that survived the fall of the Roman Empire. Do you know who you are when you look in the mirror? I think you do. I think you understand exactly who you are. All righty, let's have some more fun, if we shall. Jolene, who do we want to pop in there next? We got Jason Walker. He says, John, recovering from surgery, trying to take care of all health issues before SHTF. Well, I'll tell you what, I wish you well and pray quick recovery from your surgery. Take care of all your health issues before SHTF, folks. It's here. Jason, it's here already. We're just not in Mad Max. Not yet, but it's here. It is medical SHTF. It is legal SHTF, social SHTF, and wartime, almost World War III SHTF. Government collapse. Well, the only thing that's keeping the government going is the fact that we're willing to behave, that we're not willing to rebel openly and fight. They're counting on us being afraid. They don't have the strength that they say they have or claim they have. You could send all of Washington, D.C. police out into the public, and if the public decided to reject them and stand up to them, they would be wiped out quickly. They are not strong, folks. And it's the same for Europe. Take a look at France. How many super duper El Frenchio policemen were supposed to come out and stop all of the riots and protesters across France? How many thousands was it? I think it was 40,000. Well, did that stop all the riots, the burning, the death, right? All the BLMing, burning, looting, murdering? No, it didn't. It hasn't. France is in big freaking trouble, folks. The government is not as strong as you would think they are. It's just that SHTF, we're still mild, right? You got mild and medium and hot on your hot sauce. Well, the SHTF, folks, is still in the mild zone. France is getting a little warm, huh? Isn't it amazing that Europe wants to pretend like it is morally and intellectually superior to Russia, and that they can defeat Russia because, Russia bad, Russia dumb, Russia weak. Well, if you look at things, folks, France doesn't look so good, neither does Germany, neither do other places. And yes, don't worry, the CIA and the fascists of Ukraine are fighting to get into Russia and cause problems within Russia. And it's occurring. It's happening right now, right? They are doing their very best to topple Russia. I don't think Russia is in the mood, though. I don't think they're in the mood for it. What's your opinion? What is your opinion on this? Let's do this. Let's step up. We're doing a good job. I want to move through these topics because there's so much to talk about. I don't want to miss anyone or miss anything. Jolene, what do we want to put up there for topic next? Oh, shit. It is Mr. Uman. And this is what he has to say. The thing that amazes me most is that all the folks that fought against segregation have now been convinced to self-segregate. Wow, that is an amazing thing, is it not? That's right. Blacks in America, blacks down south, blacks up north, everywhere. They wanted to fight segregation. There were black schools, there were black restaurants, there were black neighborhoods, right? If you were going to ride the bus, blacks had to ride in the back of the bus. That was Rosa Parks who fought against that. In fact, apparently there was someone there before Rosa Parks that was doing these sorts of things, and she just got to go on. She was put to the front and used as an example. Anyways, enough on Rosa Parks. I don't want to be appear as putting her down. She did her thing, and it had its effect. Still, yeah, segregation. Well, in order to make sure that whites and blacks weren't segregated, remember when they had forced busing? They would force white kids out of their areas and into other school districts where there were blacks. And they would bus blacks and force them into white schools. Forced integration. Well, they decided they don't like that. Now, folks, these leftist Democrat morons, Democrats, all of them, want segregation again. They're self-segregating. You know what? People are rather tribal. You look in the mirror, you see who you are. You're like, okay, that's what I look like. Should I hang around with people who look like me or look like something else? And for the most part, people hang around people that look like them. Unfortunately for me, there's not a whole lot of toe-headed men in their 50s. There's just not. This is natural hair color, folks. No bleach blonde there, except for a little sun bleaching and when I'm down in the swamps and the bayous. Anyways, yeah, these people are self-segregating. They're going back. They are the ones regressing. They are the ones pushing racism and segregation. They're the ones pushing for special rights for some. And that's right, discrimination against others. How fascinating is it? Is it not? It is absolutely fascinating to me that we're not supposed to discriminate against people. But they look at you and say, well, no, we can. We can discriminate against you based on your color or your religion or your sexual preference and orientation. Right? You would think that means you can't say things against people of color and other religions other than Christianity or against the gay people. No, folks, the segregation, not segregation, but discrimination is now against straight people. It's against Christians. The segregation is against white people. And also on gender. Not only have they confused what gender is altogether, but to be male is to be very, very bad. These people are dumbasses, just extraordinary dumbasses. And I think that they will take care of themselves. I think that they will become extinct because, let's see, homosexuals can't reproduce. They can't. They can't reproduce. They don't seem to have any skills other than performing sexual acts on each other. Interesting. By the way, Disney World is getting less and less traffic. Fewer and fewer people are going to Disney World. Fewer and fewer families. Now, I haven't been there personally, but it's being reported, folks. They're killing themselves. They're destroying their own businesses. You, my friends, and your boycotts against the left and wokeism is working. And I want to encourage that as much as I encourage you to personally write Senator Grassley and say, keep saying those words, buddy, keep fighting for us. But yeah, Disney is dying, folks. Budweiser can't shake the boogeyman that they created and turn loose on themselves. I wish Nike was hurting worse. I think Adidas should hurt worse. I think, folks, mainstream media, which probably was the start of turning everyone off, because who wants to watch a bunch of America-hating assholes lie about facts? Really, if you watch mainstream media news, or even mainstream media, period, all they do is show you how awful America is and how stupid you are for being here. Very fascinating. I would love to see Disney World go bankrupt and Disney Corporation take it in the shorts. Right? Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy. They are not religious icons who should be kept alive at all costs. Like all things, folks, eventually they come, they grow, and then they die. I think we're now witnessing the death of woke stupidity, and it will, folks. It will happen, but they'll have their death throes. Their death throes. Convulsions. Right? Sick people are in a hospital bed. Then they'll wake up one day and go, I feel great, right? All of a sudden they'll have some miraculous recovery and then die again. Take a shit. It's coming. It truly is. What a world. Along with all the woke shit, folks, is the environmental crap. The electric vehicle movement. I don't think it's such a bad thing, except the batteries needed are insufficient, and there's not sufficient quantities of battery material, and there's not sufficient quantities of electricity to replace all of the energy that's consumed by petrol powered cars, gas and diesel. These people, folks, are going to keep pushing things that will break the world. Are you ready to watch? Are you prepared for the trouble it causes? Now, let's go back to the Roman Empire, because I do like history. As the Roman Empire started to fail, as it became more corrupt, more evil even, as those things were happening, don't you think that the smart people saw what was happening? And what did they do? What did the smart people do? Well, I'm going to submit to you that they relocated. It would seem intelligent to me that if there was a farmer anywhere within a couple hundred miles of Rome, that they would harvest their crops, gather as much seed as they could, and relocate themselves. It would seem to me that the smart people would leave Roman cities and go to the countryside and go to other cities that weren't Roman or as corrupt. And that these places that they went, these other cities, I bet they did pretty well. They survived the Roman Empire, these cities did. They probably became city-states, if you will. Now, all along the Mediterranean coast of Spain and France, those cities there are ancient cities, existing and pre-existing even the Roman Empire, because people would live on the coast and fish and live off the catch of the sea and live off the bounty of the land. And they would probably trade with other nearby cities. The reason I'm mentioning this is here in America and around the world, people, if you live in a totally corrupt and filthy city, you may want to get out. You may want to go to another city that isn't as corrupt. Now, I think the way that is going to express itself in America during this SHTF period is people will flee blue cities, Democrat cities. They will flee Democrat states, and they'll go other places. And it's easier for us because we have automobiles and we have highways. We have trains, planes, and automobiles, right? I love it when people want to get mad or upset and say, oh, you must be rich doing the things you do. Actually, I'm not rich, and not by a freaking stretch. But there is so many resources available to us. Even the most poor, if they wanted, could leave where they're at and relocate. I mean, if you're poor in Chicago, wouldn't you rather be poor someplace else? Jackson, Mississippi. Even Atlanta, Georgia's got to be better than Chicago. At least you're in a better environment. Anyways, the point is, folks, the people are going to continue to flee. They're going to move to where it's safer, and we have a chance and an opportunity. Even though shit is hit the fan, the empire is falling, the currency is debased, the law system sucks. We all really actually know how to live and how to respect ourselves and one another. And it's high time that we started doing it. And I think one of the keys to self-respect is standing up for yourself and standing up for your family and standing up for your neighbors and your community. I think it's high time we all started doing it. Folks, understand the lessons of history are there for us to learn. And one of those great lessons is get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Those are great lessons in history. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? And go to thepreparedmind.club. There it is, right, for prepper chow, long-term food, and other prepper supplies. I'll see you guys bright and early on a wacky Wednesday. I'm sure it's going to be wacky. And we will, folks. We'll talk about what happened, because between now and tomorrow, all kinds of SHTF stuff is going to come to light. And in fact, I'm feeling like something big needs to happen. Something big is going to happen. I can feel it now. It's been brewing. Semper Fi. God bless America.